Waiting for them both to come on. Okay. Hey guys. So I told you guys on TikTok and Facebook this week during my normal Tuesday night live that I was going to start doing another live during the week to answer questions and so on. So I have a little friend with me today. So Pam and I both run the Trillium Spiritual Center in Tulsa. So we actually have a spiritual school here. We normally teach classes. Okay, Facebook's doing something weird. Okay, cool. So I'm dual living again on Facebook and TikTok, so you guys can catch me on both ones. But tonight, I'm not doing free readings. However, you have me, you have Aunt Pam here. We are going to be videoing and recording this for our first podcast, which will come out next week. So ask your questions. Ask away. I know the other day on Tuesday, there were a lot of people that actually had some very, very good questions about spirituality, their walk, paganism, so on. So we have a few topics that we're going to talk about first. And so we'll be watching for comments on, both Facebook and TikTok. So if you guys have questions, shoot them in. But we're going to talk about a few things here. The first topic will be what's the first step on your spiritual journey. And then if you have questions on spirituality, on witchcraft, Wicca, paganism, any of that stuff, feel free to ask. If you're stuck in your practice, feel free to ask. Pam and I both have been practicing for a very long time. And just for our podcast sake here, I'm going to give you guys just a short background on myself, and then I'm going to let Pam give you guys a short background on her. Ooh, good question on Facebook already. Give me just a second, Charisse, and I will totally get to your question. So I'm Mandy. I'm the Blue Bodhi. I am descended from Irish travelers. I've been practicing for a long time. I also have some very odd, wonderful gifts. One of my gifts, if you guys watch my TikTok or my Facebook, you know that I'm an aura artist. I travel all over doing aura drawings. But yeah, Pam and I also have a pretty large coven here in Tulsa. We teach other people. We teach baby witches, new witches, old witches, middle-aged witches, whatever you want to call them. So, yeah. But, yeah. I'm going to let Pam tell you just a tiny bit about her really quickly, and we'll go into some more stuff about ourselves later. So, Janet, we're in Oklahoma. So, yeah. We're both... Pam was born and raised here. I was born here, grew up in Colorado, right outside of Denver, and now I'm back here. And yeah, I actually really like Tulsa. Tulsa has a very pretty robust spiritual community here. So yeah. So I know we're getting a couple questions back and forth. I'm not doing readings or anything like that tonight, guys. This is just question and answers on spirituality. So I'm gonna let Pam talk a little bit about her, and then I'm gonna get to the question over there, and then we're gonna delve right in.
I'm Pam. I go by Aunt Pam. I am Native American. I am half Cherokee. I was raised very traditionally in a very traditional Native American home. It was my first language. I have a very, very deep spirituality. I was not raised in church. I was raised at my ceremonial grounds. I have gotten away from that, it seems like, as I've gotten older and we've moved so far away. But it's still my heart. I am also a healer. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 25 years. And so, us delving into this and starting this has been something that Mandy and I have dreamt of for a long time. And we're just glad to be here.
Yeah, so we've noticed since we've started our spiritual school here in Tulsa, our classes have kind of exploded. We have 4 beginners classes now. We also have an intermediate class and a kids class. Starting in the middle of next month, we're going to start online classes. So those of you guys that are not anywhere nearby where you can't come in person, we will have online classes. These are full year-long mentorship programs. There's a beginning, an intermediate, and an advanced. Yeah, so in Connecticut. Awesome. So really quickly, I want to start with our first topic on here and kind of talk and go through, but we've got a few questions popping up and I want to get to those after we talk about some of these things here. So our first topic that we're going to talk about is what's the first step on a spiritual journey? This is one of the questions that came up a lot, especially on TikTok the other night, is people were like, hey, I'm just starting my spiritual journey. I have no idea. Help me. What do I do? Where do I go? Etc. So I kind of have a few little points we'll go down and we'll talk a little bit. But the very first thing that's going to happen is people always go, well, I don't know if I've had a spiritual awakening. Okay. Well, a spiritual awakening hits you pretty fucking hard. I'm just going to say that. This is one of the ones that it hits you hard enough that suddenly you pull away from everything you've known, everything you've been doing, the people, etc. Some people will ask, hey, are you depressed? Are you going crazy? Like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? You know when you hit a spiritual awakening, it's always after something very traumatic. It's never like you wake up and go, man, I think I'm going to have a spiritual awakening today and it's going to be awesome. It's totally not what happens. It's usually after a death, a divorce, a near-death experience. It's after something extremely traumatic that shoves you out of the norm that you're in. So you know when you've had a spiritual awakening. If you're just starting to walk down a spiritual path, that's a little different. This is where you feel pulled to be on a more spiritual path, whether it's with just learning how to be in nature, learning how to ground, or whether you're full on, hey, I'm going to become, a Buddhist. I'm going to walk a Buddhist path. I'm going to walk a Taoist path. I'm going to get back to my Native American roots. I'm going to get back to my Irish roots, etc. In this podcast and on these lives, we'll talk about paganism and being a pagan. So technically, if you're not a Christian or you're not a Muslim or you're not Jewish, you're considered pagan. Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, Native Americans, any of that, you're considered pagan. Norse, Celtic, Greek, blah, 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 pagan. So when we say pagan, that kind of encompasses everything on a spiritual path, not just, those of us nerds that love crystals and, things like that. It's not just that when we talk about paganism. But I appreciate that. So I actually love this when someone on here on TikTok mentioned that God has a path for everyone and that, we need to build a relationship with Jesus. I fully appreciate that. I actually am a licensed minister here in the state of Oklahoma. I perform many weddings, funerals, last rites, etc. Also, I I have been baptized. I do have a relationship with God. And so I feel like here's a good time to mention this because this is a question that Pam and I get a lot, both in school, at events, etc. When you truly look at all the different religions in the world, and you look at them, one of the classes that we teach is over about 34 different religions. We look at them on a spreadsheet where they're all black and white laid out together. When you look at the beliefs, you look at the doctrine, you look at the God and the hierarchy, there's always one God over it and the hierarchy, whether it's angels, demigods, etc. You really start to see that everything is the same. There's always one encompassing being, whether you call it God, Allah, the Great Spirit, Odin, Zeus, the universe. It's all literally the same thing. I am a person that I do not believe that any religion is wrong. I believe that every religion has right aspects in it. I don't believe anyone has it all correct because I don't believe that our human brains can fully comprehend everything. So I do have a relationship with God. I do have a relationship with Jesus. I also walk a pagan path. I'm Buddhist. I also walk a very Celtic path. I'm a shaman as well. I almost got a really bad accent there, a bad Oklahoma accent. I'm sorry. Pam is kind of the same way, and I'll let her, speak for herself there. But I always appreciate when someone pops on and mentions about God, Jesus, etc. Because I kind of feel like God, the universe, all of those are literally the same thing. So let's get back to our talk about the first step on our spiritual journey. We talked about a spiritual awakening. And we talked about kind of the difference between a spiritual awakening and walking a spiritual path, because it's different. When you hit a spiritual awakening and you get shoved full on into one, you really start to question everything. This is a lot of times what people will call you having a crisis of faith. So that can be any faith. It doesn't have to be just being pagan, Christian, Muslim, etc. Then you go through something called the dark night of the soul. And we're going to touch on it a little bit here, but then on down a little bit, we're going to touch on it really hardcore, because this is something a lot of people don't understand. And they end up going and getting on all kinds of medicine because people think they're depressed or so on. And guess what? The medicine makes it worse because you're not really depressed. You're just having a little bit of a crisis. So, is there anything you wanted to add? I'm just kind of like, la, 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 la. You're good. So I'm not going to touch too much on Dark Night of the Soul because we're going to go down here on it a little bit. The next part, after you hit this Dark Night of the Soul, it's literally kind of waves up and down. So, you hit the spiritual awakening, and even though it sucks, don't get me wrong, it's kind of a high. And when you hit that Dark Night of the Soul, it's literally you bottom out. As you're coming up out of the Dark Night of the Soul a little bit, because this is what happens. You will go through this dark night repeatedly on your path. Oh, I thought you were like waving at somebody. I was like, what? You will start to feel two things. Super disconnected from people you've always known. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But you will also start to see where the world and everything in it is super, super connected. And this will hit you at very odd times, when you're driving, when you're sitting at work, when you're sitting at the dentist, like just weird random things. And it's always almost an epiphany type thing that hits you, where you're like, wow, I can't believe I never saw how something that happens, in England is affecting something tiny here. I can't believe I didn't realize how something happening in Thailand is affecting something in Chile, So things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and, sorry, I've got someone here that it won't let me do anything. Let's try that. Ta-da! All right. Had to remove somebody there from some comments they were making, but that's okay. Normally, I am happy to talk to anybody about anything, and you guys, if you've seen me on TikTok and Facebook, I'm happy to talk to anybody. I never poo-poo on anybody's beliefs or their religions or anything like that. However, I fully expect the same respect. So if you would like to discuss religion, you would like to talk about things like that, I am more than happy to talk about it and discuss things. But I expect for everybody to be respectful, whether you believe the same as I do or differently. And I am so happy to do that. So anyway, all right. And I just fucked up the camera. Sorry. It'll probably happen again. Your connection to others is something that you're going to find really will push you along your journey. You will find the right people. You will find them at the right times. And they will put you on a path where you suddenly learn what it is you need to learn right then. Right then. That is a good point. Somebody on TikTok said a spiritual awakening doesn't always come with walking a spiritual path. No, it doesn't. And I think that's a wonderful comment. I really appreciate that, because a lot of times a spiritual awakening will happen and you have no idea what's going on. Right. You have no idea what's going on. If you already have a very strong faith, Christian, Muslim, Jew, whatever, sometimes that can cause you to have a crisis where you literally are like, I'm done. I'm not going to church. I'm not doing this for a while. Other times you will literally throw yourself headlong in there. Everyone is different. So when I'm talking about a spiritual awakening or a spiritual path, it doesn't mean that one necessarily goes hand in hand with the other. It means that you've had something traumatic happen and it shoved you higher. The way I like to explain it when I teach classes is everybody kind of starts at level 1. When you hit that spiritual awakening, you get shoved up a level or 2. Sometimes you get shoved up 10 or 20. But it's something that really jars you in multiple ways. So let's get back to talking about this. So with those connections to others and with starting to see where everything is interconnected, you start to find your tribe. And your tribe will change. You will have people come in that will be your teachers. They may be your teachers for years and years and years. They may be your teachers for a couple of weeks. So yeah, you just tend to gravitate toward the people you need in your life right now. I love to say everything happens for a reason, and people are in your life for a reason, good or bad. Sometimes you're their lesson, sometimes they're your lesson. So that scared me. The light went off over here, and I went like, what the hell is that? But here's where you guys need to give yourself permission. Once you hit that spiritual awakening, and once you hit the point where you're really starting to get interested in learning about spiritual topics, give yourself permission to fall down the rabbit hole. Make a list of like, hey, here's like 10 things I'm really interested in when it comes to spirituality, whether it's meditation, yoga, cards, divination, whatever it is. Make a list. And then go down that list and give yourself permission to fall down the rabbit hole. Set aside an hour or however long you can. And literally go from video to video, from article to article. And if you see something on the side that piques your interest, fall down that rabbit hole. There's a reason those things pop up. And you will totally start to find the answers that you've been looking for. And most of them you don't even know you're looking for. So, well, really quickly before I let Pam talk about the next topic. So, Charisse over here on, and if I'm saying your name wrong, I'm so sorry. Charisse over on Facebook asked how to find out who spirit guides are. There's a few different ways you can do this. You can actually find someone that does spirit guide readings, and you can have that done. You can find someone who is able to, there's a couple different types of readings too. Like I personally do a couple different types. One is with cards and one is with an aura drawing. So if you guys ever catch us out at an event, we will be in Kansas City next month and Oklahoma City. If you catch us out, we can help you. We can do spirit guide readings for you and help you. Or online, there are so many amazing guided meditations out there. Man, I highly advise those. If you can't come in to have a reading, if you don't want to do one online or whatever, if you'd rather find them yourself, man, look on YouTube, look on Spotify, look on Pandora. There are so many guided meditations that that allow you to be walked through finding your spirit guides. So I highly advise it. Highly advise it. So someone on TikTok asked about Colorado. So I'm actually looking at a festival there this fall. So hopefully I'll have an answer pretty soon, and I will announce where I'll be, when, where we'll be, etc. But I actually grew up in Westminster, right outside of Boulder, and I truly, truly miss it. So truly miss it. I miss the mountains. My bedroom window faced Pikes Peak, and that was my view every morning, and I absolutely love it. I totally miss the sanctity of the mountains. That was my church. So on to our next topic. I'm going to let the lovely Aunt Pam talk about one of her favorite topics. And we went and got boba tea a while ago. Pam had her first boba tea, and I still...
Good.
I still have, like, all the boba in mine. So I'm going to, you know, like...
So what we're going to talk about is your vibration. Every living thing has a vibration. We all vibrate at different frequencies, different levels. When you are first beginning and you're first realizing you're vibrating at a lower level, the more you connect with your spirituality and the more you connect with other people, your vibrations will raise, will get heightened. And as that's happening, you will notice that people in your life will slowly move away. You will slowly move away from them. That is completely normal. It is the universe. It is your spirit guides. They're raising your vibration to where you are no longer connecting with those people on a lower vibration. So it's quite possible that you're not ready to give those people up. And so you do everything you can to reach down and hold on to those people that are on that lower vibration than you. Mm-hmm. And if you're trying to hold someone up, what is going to happen? You're going to get tired. You're not going to be able to continuously hold someone if they are not willing and able to meet you where your vibrational level is. as you vibrate higher and higher and higher, those people are slowly going to fall away. They're slowly going to move on. Your time with them has come to an end. Not to say that they can't begin their own spiritual journey and start increasing and raising their vibrational level so that they're going to come in your radar again. Mm-hmm. Because like vibrations attract like vibrations. And that's who's going to come to you. That's the people who are going to be coming into your life. So the even significant others that are not willing to move with you and go with you and raise to a higher vibration with you are going to fall away if they're not willing to do that. And you have to understand that is a part of your journey, is to release those people. Maybe forever, maybe until they're ready to join you at that level, but you can't continue to hold someone up.
So someone on TikTok said, yeah, but wouldn't trying to raise someone else be like leading a horse to water? Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
It is. You can only hold on to someone for so long, and either they're going to come with you or you are going to start going back down to their vibrational level. And that's detrimental.
It is.
You don't ever want to do that.
It is.
But you cannot make someone or will someone or hold on to someone to get them to your level.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that really, really sucks about that is, especially if, so here, I'll share something personal with you guys. So I was married for 15 years. During the last 6-7 years of our marriage, I went through some very harsh things that shoved me into a spiritual awakening. I had already kind of been in one, and I felt like I already operated a little differently. At 19, I died twice. So it took me a very long time to process that. So in processing it, and then I had in 2014 is when my full, let's have a real spiritual awakening, Mandy. That's when that happened. I lost my mom. 2 months later, almost lost my sister. 2 months after that, almost lost myself. 2 months after that, found out that I'd been having undiagnosed seizures for almost 20 years. Those things together threw me into a tailspin. It really did. I went through several dark nights of the souls very quickly. I threw myself into trying to learn, and not spiritually, but like I put myself in school, all these things. And it got to the point where physically I couldn't handle it anymore. I was making myself sick because I was working too much. And then I'd go from work right to school and home, and I would not sleep and so on. So what sucks is that I realized very quickly that I had gotten shoved up to a different level. I now, even though my ex-husband had lost people, he had never lost a parent. He had never almost lost a sibling, things like that. There was a lot of things that suddenly caused a rift between us. And so I would try to speak to him about it because it bothered me. I didn't know who else to speak to. But it started to become painfully clear that he was not ready to follow me on any type of spiritual journey. And that's not his fault at all in any way. He was not there yet. And I totally understand that. So in leaving, that was one of the things that made me very, very sad when I came to that realization that I really loved this man, but we were so different now. And I saw things so differently that it was not, we couldn't be together anymore. And I will tell you guys too, as you're going through this, if you're in the dating world, it makes it very hard because when you're talking to people, you start to realize you're not on my level. You're not on my level. Sometimes you hit other people and you go, I'm not on your level. You realize, man, I have learning to do. I have growing to do spiritually. And so you'll make a lot of friends, a lot of amazing friends, but you're going to have to learn very quickly when to be able to say, I'm not your person. I'm not your person. I'm not on your level. You're not on my level, etc. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just means you guys are not on the same level. But trying to force someone to be on your level will never, ever work out in either of y'all's favor, and it will cause animosity and ill feelings between the two of you. So yes. So I'm glad that somebody said that on there, but it's like leading the most stubborn donkey you could ever find in the world to water, and no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't work out. So let's see. The cool thing about realizing you operate at a higher vibration is when you find other people that do operate on your higher vibration, and you get giddy, and the other person will get giddy as well, because they you find each other kind of like, Pam and I, you find each other and suddenly you're like, ooh, I get you, like you're the same level as me, and you almost like mentally high five before you guys ever like shake hands or anything, because you start to recognize that view in somebody's eyes. And that's one of the things that's really great about conventions and the places that we travel and stuff. We meet so many people, and people will come in front of me, and it's like I instantly know what level you're on. I'm like, I see it in your eyes. Like you've seen some shit and some stuff. Like it becomes very easy to spot your people. So it is. Somebody said it's nice to share with like-minded people. It absolutely is. And all stranded in the woods. That's cute. They said, sorry, I can't see your little thingy. Said, this is one of my favorite feelings. Dude, it totally is mine too. I love that feeling when you come across someone, and sometimes it's hard. Like, you come across someone and you're like, oh my God, you're on the same level as me. And then you just want to talk to him for fucking ever. And, like 3 hours later, you're like, ooh, probably should go home. Probably should get off TikTok, whatever. So yeah. But you'll kind of start to find your tribe in doing this. And your tribe will change. You have to remember that everyone is on a different spiritual path. My path isn't Pam's path, isn't your path, isn't, your path. And you guys will have to remember that as you're going along. So, before we get into the third topic, we've got a ton of viewers on Facebook. We've got a ton of viewers on TikTok. I'm curious if anybody has any questions about vibrations, about operating in a different vibration, about any of the steps on a spiritual journey, or spirituality in general, witchcraft in general, paganism in general, finding your deities, any of that. If you guys have questions, feel free to shoot them on here on TikTok or on Facebook, and we'll totally answer them. So yeah, that's what we're here for tonight. We're gonna hang out for a little bit. So y'all.
And just because you're not on the same vibrational level as someone else, if you're vibrating up here, they're down here, it doesn't mean that you stop loving someone or you stop caring for that person or wishing them well. Mm-hmm. It's not a out of sight, out of mind type of thing, because once your vibration is higher, you are going to want those people to come with you. I already love you and I already care for you. Let's do this together. So it's not an end-all, be-all, never see that person again. And sometimes that does happen. Mm-hmm. Most of the time that does happen. But those people who are willing to love you back and understand, and they feel a draw and they feel a pull to that, and something in that resonates with them, they may come with you. Mm-hmm. And it may be the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah. So I saw a couple people have put some questions on here. Somebody asked, where do I start? So one of the things that we talked about was, hitting that spiritual awakening and stuff. When you are starting on your spiritual path, here's the first thing that I personally would recommend, and I'll have Pam chime in as well. And then there's a couple questions below this. 2 of them are amazing questions that we need to address because there's something I get all the time. Personally, what I would say is give yourself some time, set aside a little bit of time every day, and fall down the rabbit hole. Seriously, make yourself a list of 5, 6, 10 things that you're interested in, that now that you're starting to look at the spiritual aspect, at the pagan aspect, whatever it is you're interested in, make yourself a list. And give yourself some time. Like, okay, I have an hour before I go to bed. I'm going to look on YouTube. I'm going to watch some videos. I'm going to read some articles, etc. You're going to find yourself gravitating. Something stuck in my throat. You're going to find yourself gravitating toward the things that you need to be learning. The things that you need to be learning right then on your path will always find their way in front of you. Trust me. And they will poke you and poke you and poke you until you decide, okay, fine, I will read this. I will watch this. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, on Facebook. Somebody said the video keeps pausing. I swear it's one day it's TikTok, one day it's Facebook. It's so weird. But absolutely give yourself permission to fall down the rabbit hole. Then I would see if you can find a local shop where you can go in. Chances are there are probably 2 or 3 or more in your area. Like here in Tulsa, there are, 5 or 6. And I would advise finding the shops around you and visiting every single one. Visit all of them. Because every single shop is going to have people that are amazingly talented. They all have unique gifts. They all have different specialties. There may be someone at one shop that knows every single rock fucking ever. And then there may be someone else that's so connected and they can tell you all of your guides like that. There may be someone else that they are a master tarot card reader. You know what I mean? Like, go to every single shop. You know what I mean? And then find the one that resonates the most in here with you. Trust your gut. If you walk in a shop and you feel the vibe is off, you feel this is not my place, walk around and then, you don't have to go back. But I'm saying, trust your gut. Find your place. You will find people around you. Find local social media groups, Facebook, whatever. Go to local events, things like that. Find people online that you like their vibe. You like what they, you know what I mean? You like, the vibe is the main thing. You want to find someone that their stuff resonates with you. Whether it's me, Pam, whether it's someone else. I'm not saying, oh my God, you have to only learn what I say. Neither one of us teach that way. Because we know that how we teach, how we talk may not be right for you. And it's not going to hurt our feelers, I promise. So yeah, give yourself permission, first of all, to fall down the rabbit hole. So someone else on here asked, what's my vibe? Am I staying alone? Okay, so I know you're kind of asking a question here, like reading wise, but here's the thing. It's kind of hard to figure out what your specific vibe is. There's not really a measure of it. However, you will kind of know if you're really curious about, why am I staying alone? Why am I not finding the right people? Chances are you need to find yourself first. In finding yourself, I don't mean, go on a walkabout and take 2 months off or quit your job or whatever. I mean, take time and figure out what's important to you. What's important to you. And I don't mean like, I like blonde women or I like, big Viking men. Not that. What I mean by this is figure out spiritually what you actually care about. Are you Christian? Are you walking a pagan path? Are you Celtic? Are you Buddhist? Figure out what resonates with you, what you're drawn to, what you like, and go from there.
We have Christian witches in our mentorship program. People who, that's what resonates with them. We don't judge that. That's not our place. We are there to give you the information, to let you know what all of the options are, things that you might not have ever even considered before. There's so many people who say, how can that be? Christianity and witchcraft, those don't even gel. Those don't, Christians persecuted witches. People persecuted people. Religion in the name of religion. And it became perverted and skewed in those views.
Yeah.
But we're not in any way, shape, or form trying to tell you to be this spirituality, you have to do this.
Right.
That is so personal, and nothing that someone else believes or feels is right or wrong.
Right.
To you. It's all your personal walk and your spirituality is completely how it feels to you.
Yeah.
How it feels. If it feels right in your soul,
right,
then that's what's right.
Right. So the next question that I want to answer here on TikTok, and then we've got one on Facebook, and then I've got like 30 messages piled up down here. The next one, this is the one that I said I get all the time. And this, I can't pronounce your username on here, so I'm really sorry. But they asked, Why do I hear ringing or like vibrating in my ears? My friend, that would be a spirit guide yelling in your ear. Usually, I'm going to pull over here a little bit so you can see. It usually feels like it's right here on either side of your head, but your ears suddenly, you'll lose hearing. You'll hear this ringing, and it's different because I know, so I used to bartend right by, big speakers. I was also that 90s kid, the 80s kid with the headphones in my ears all the time. It's different than that. When you've listened to something too loud and it's just like, it's that really loud, high-pitched noise. This is not that. This is a ringing. It's different. It's lower. Or you just lose your hearing. That right there, when that happens, you need to stop and you need to look around and you need to seriously pay attention, because that is a spirit guide or a deity warning you or telling you this is important. This right here is vital. You need to talk to that person, pay attention to what they're saying. So when you guys have that happen, you need to know, hey, I need to stop and I need to pay attention because something is seriously fucking important
or
right here.
Something could be wrong. You could be in the wrong place.
Exactly.
At not the right time. You need to leave where you're at. Pay attention. If you feel that and you sense that and you look around and you think, okay, something doesn't feel right, pay attention to that, because that is for you.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer this question on Facebook real quick, and then I'm going to start going down some of these other ones because I see some other really good ones on TikTok. So on Facebook, somebody asked, how did you figure out what your gifts were? So for everybody, this is different. I will just quickly go over how I figured mine out, and I'll let Pam talk about hers, but I'm just going to tell you guys, you're going to always be drawn to something that's going to be your first gift. I will tell you guys, being an empath is actually a gift. If you go online and look up, there have actually been studies here recently, thank God, that, and I said God, see, that have found that people that are empathic or claim to be empathic, they did a study on their brain. They hooked them up to scans. They hooked up regular people, a control group. And they found that people that are empathic actually have more blood flow to certain parts of their brain than other people do. They found scientific evidence that yes, empathicness, which is a clairsentience words, there's evidence for that. There's scientific evidence for that. So when I read those articles, and they were some pretty high up, for some reason I want to say the Mayo Clinic, and there was a couple other universities, very large universities involved in this. I thought it was fucking amazing. I was like, thank God, because now they're going to start validating some things. For me personally, gift-wise, I'd always been kind of connected even as a kid. However, whenever I had my near-death experiences and I was put into a medically induced coma for a couple weeks, when I woke up from that, I had synesthesia, which most people are born with it, or something damages a part of your brain to give you that. So with having that, sounds, this is when one sense triggers another sense. So they work simultaneously. So sounds to me are all colors. Music is usually colors and patterns. So like voices, like Pam's voice is a color to me. It also affects me in that when I touch things, I instantly see a color. It's not so much inanimate objects. Sometimes it is. Textures are a color pattern to me. But mainly it's living things. For example, most dogs are green. There's some that border on turquoise, some that border on yellow-green. Most trees are blue, and they're usually a very deep medium blue. However, every single person is a different color. I learned in studying color theory because this fascinated me. I learned in studying color theory that when I touch someone, I shake their hand, I instantly get a color. And I've learned I can pinpoint exactly about you from that core color. So I realized that this is not something just weird I'm going to have to learn to live with. This is a gift. So this is actually how I read people's auras. I'm one of a handful of people in the U.S. that do what I do. So, and Pam can tell you, like, I sit there, I hold your hand, because when I touch you longer, not only do I see one color, I see layers. And so that's what I draw in the drawing for you. And I draw the shapes of them. I've learned from the colors, the shapes, etc., that I suddenly feel like I become your best friend because I know you intricately. I have a lot of gifts. And as as I walk more along my spiritual path, they get more and more and more. I've been a professional oracle card reader since 2014. I'm also a medium. I do some mediumship work, not a lot because it's very hard. It's very draining. But I do a lot of different things. So a lot of times your gifts will smack you right in the face before you're ready for them. And you kind of have to suddenly learn to deal with them very quickly. But I'll let Pam talk about them, and then I want to answer this question about spirit guides, and then we're down to 50 messages. So I'm going to start making a list and going down the list here. So while Pam's talking.
First and foremost, I am a healer. That is something, I'm a nurse of 25 years. So it just came natural that that's what I would do. Not even realizing in the beginning that I would take care of someone very ill and they would get better. Of course, that's your goal as a nurse. Somebody you're taking care of is going to get better, but it would come at my expense. I started getting sick, not understanding that they were getting better and I was getting sick, not realizing that I can't, not knowing I was a healer, I can't take on and take from people and remove things, not realizing I was keeping those. And once it came to me that this was what my gift was, I knew that I had to learn to release what I was inadvertently taking from someone. The health that I was giving them back, the energy exchange that we were having. I'm a very healthy person now. I had horrible chronic illness and pain for years and years that I don't deal with anymore once I realized what that was. I'm also a dream walker. That's very hard to explain to people. It's something that has happened to me since I was a child, my entire life. I can go into other people's dreams. I use that now as a catalyst to help people. If people need me, I can come to you in your dream and I can help you. It is something, as a child, I would hear my friends talk about a dream that they had, and I'm thinking that was my dream. Why are you talking about my dream, and how do you know about my dream? Well, when I started realizing the common denominator in all of this was me, so I was going into their dreams. I ask permission now, by the way. When you're young and you don't realize it, it happens and you do it.
I'm going to pause you for just a minute here. So I went back down through some of the messages on TikTok, and I'm sorry we were answering questions I didn't see. We had someone in here that was really making some hateful comments and stuff. One thing I want to address, I did block him, by the way, y'all, on TikTok. One of the things he says on here is, these ladies say anything to get cash, see it all the time. Okay, let me go ahead and debunk that right now. I'm literally on TikTok Live and Facebook Live, both of us, and we're literally answering all your questions and not asking for any money. So there's that. I do a lot of donation readings and healings. I will offer my services for free to people all the time. I do have to make a living, just like you have to work your job. But a lot of times I give people things. Pam gives people things. We have people come to us that they want to donate for someone else. Like, hey, I would like to give you, some money for somebody else that needs a Reiki session or whatever. So a lot of times I do things like this. I love to give talks. I love to educate people. That's our calling, is to educate people, to help them on their path. So I always love it when someone says, well, they're just doing it to get cash. Don't get me wrong. There are tons of people out there who do try to do everything they can to scam people and to get cash. And I've seen a lot of them. Unfortunately, a lot of them are also very good at talking, and they're very good con artists, and they usually get very big. They get on TV, they get whatever. And I hate that, because it gives some of us that really care about other people and that really know this is our path, they give us a bad name, and I
Let me
really
just
hate
say, I walked away from a 25-year nursing career. I walked away from a guaranteed paycheck, especially during COVID. I mean, essential, okay. I left that comfort. I left all of that because I believe in what I do. I believe in the healing energy
that. Ooh,
that I
that's a
give.
great one.
I'm not doing it for the money, obviously, because there's not a whole lot. I mean, with my career and my job, that's guaranteed money. This is not. We get paid for what we do for others. And
Sorry, I'm going back through some of these while Pam's talking. Sorry.
I can't imagine that someone would. And I know there's people out there. I know that. I get that. There's people out there that can con someone. I'm not about that.
So I'm seeing a lot of people, and then this was probably when we were talking about the ringing in our ears. Like, I'm going through, and I've got a list of questions. I've been writing everybody's questions down, but I'm trying to keep up a little bit because we've got some trollers, and I'm trying to nip that in the butt. About the ringing in the ears. I have high blood pressure. I know what that sounds like. For those of you guys that have never heard this type of ringing, you don't quite understand. The first time you hear it, you're going to go, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Like, it's going to hit you like that. And that will go through your mind. What the fuck was that? Because it's something that you can't explain, this ringing to somebody, but it's completely different. It's not the ringing you get from loud music. It's not the high blood pressure ringing.
And when we say you lose your hearing, a lot of times it's just literally on one side. Mm-hmm. And it's like someone has just cut, literally you have no hearing except for a loud vibration or a loud whir in your ear. It's totally different. I'm a nurse. I know about that.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep moving the camera. I'm just trying to get all the messages. You guys are making us feel so great here. So let's see. All right. Oh, you guys sending gifts. You're so sweet. Thank you. So I'm just going to quickly address this question here, and then I've got a list. Somebody said, how many tarot readers on TikTok do you think are not genuine? So here's the thing. I haven't really paid attention to a lot of them. Pam and I tend to work our asses off, and this is another thing. Pam and I are at the shop at least 5 days a week from 10:30 or so till after 8 every night. On our days off, we're online, we're talking to people, we're answering messages, we're doing readings, we're working on things for other people at the shop. We don't get an hourly wage, so a lot of the times we're doing this stuff literally for free to help people. And here's the thing. If you guys are worried about a card reader, tarot reader, whatever, trust your gut. Literally trust your gut. You guys will hear me say this over and over and over. If you ever watch my lives, you watch any videos. This up here your mind will always logically try to reason through things. Your heart will sugarcoat shit. This is your mama, doesn't want you to get hurt. Will sugarcoat shit. Your gut, however, is like that best friend that has no fucking filter, that's going to poke you and prod you until you finally listen. So I can't really answer that question on how many people on TikTok I think are genuine or not. I've caught a few, and the few that I have caught are fucking fabulous. Like, I've sat and listened to them. I need to practice what I preach, and I don't actually get readings a lot. I pretty much pull cards for everybody else, but it's very easy to tell someone that doesn't know their cards or that is not connected to them. I personally read Oracle. I love tarot cards. I love the aesthetic, the artwork. I love all of that. However, I am not connected to them at all. I've tried to force it. It's not my gift. And I finally had to come to that. Like, I buy them for the artwork. I have several decks. I buy them for the artwork. I have never, ever read with a tarot deck, ever. With tarot, oh God, we have 100 new messages. I'm going to try to get down there really quick. With tarot, when you go to learn them, you have to learn every single card in that deck, what it means, what it stands for, etc. And it's a process. Yeah. Even if you're drawn to them, it's a process. So I have mad ass fucking respect for people that know their tarot deck inside and out, whether they're talented and that's their gift or not. That's a lot. That's a lot of memorizing. That's a lot of repetition and learning them. So, man, once you learn all of those, you can pick up any tarot deck and read with it. You just are interpreting the artwork and the meanings of the artwork on the cards.
Your intuition is what's important.
With oracle cards, oh, sorry, I thought that was somebody being a troll, but I read it wrong. So with oracle cards, here's the cool thing about oracle cards. Every single deck is different. Some of them have no book. Some of them have books this thick. They're all for a different purpose. So when you read with oracle cards, you have to learn every deck you have. I realize I legitimately have a problem. I have over 30 decks. I'm bordering on 40 at this point. Some of them are hand painted. But that's my forte. That's my love. So sometimes I'll start doing readings. I'll be like, man, I need a deck for this. And I'll look. And if I can't find one, I'll make the deck. I'll make it. So I love doing hand painted decks. But with oracle cards, this is something you have to be very firm rooted in trusting your intuition. So there's a question on here I just see popped up. Are Pam and I a lesbian couple? No, we're not. Pam is happily married.
30 years.
I am single and dating or whatever, but we do joke. I have to make it clear, you know, Pam is my business partner. But we have a couple clients that come in. They've been best friends for a long time. Pam is also my best friend, guys. But they come in and they call each other their life wives. And I told Pam, like, that's kind of what you are. You're my life wife. Like, we work together. We hang out. Yeah. So, yeah. No, we're not a lesbian couple. Sorry. But let's see. All right. So do you want to talk about this one real quick while I'm getting these other questions? So there was a question here on TikTok. I'm catching up. We have over 100 messages, guys, so I'm trying to get down through here. The first question on here, do your spirit guides or spirit animals change? I'm gonna start with this and let Pam go from there and go down here. So I've found in doing aura drawings that everybody is born with a certain number of spirit guides. It ranges from 2 to 7 or 8. These are ones you are assigned. You have them from birth. You have them till you die. As you get older, as you live your life, you gain more because you have people that you're close to that pass away, that choose to stay and kind of be spirit guides for you or, you know, family, etc. So I'm going to let Pam talk about some of that a little bit. So the answer to that, animals, sorry. Pam's trying to,
guys,
yeah. So let's see.
Your spirit guides can also not just be your spirit guide. They can also be a spirit guide, maybe even to your family, to others that were maybe in their family, and they can migrate and travel and may not be with you at a certain period of time because there's a more pressing need from someone else. And so sometimes they're absent and they pop in and out as needed. What else? And as people, like she said, as people pass on, they may choose to come to be your spirit guide. Some can be, you can be their lesson. And what you don't realize is even in the spirit world, people who are your spirit guides, they're the same as us here. They start out at a low vibration, and for them to ascend and to be able to reincarnate and come back, they have to learn lessons. They have to raise their vibrational level on the other side as well, so that they are able to go on to their next life and learn the lessons that they need so that they can ascend. And eventually, when all of their lessons have been learned, then they can be done and they can ascend to the highest level and not have to keep repeating. When you've learned everything that there is for your soul, then you're done, and you live in ecstasy, I believe.
So this question was on down, but I'm going to start. Well, first of all, I saw some people asking where we are. And CJ, you said you're in Tulsa. So we are actually at a shop called Enchantments and Oddities in Owasso. That's right outside, a little bit north of Tulsa. But Pam and I travel a lot. Like I said a little bit earlier. On the 16th through 18th, we will be in Kansas City at Crypticon. The weekend after that, the 24th and 25th, I think, we'll be in Oklahoma City. In August, I've got several other events. I know that we'll be at Hippie Fest in Missouri. I will be in Lexington, Kentucky at Scarefest later this year. So I will put, if you guys follow us on Facebook, or, here on TikTok, I will put on there where we'll be, because, when Pam comes with me, Pam's an amazing dream interpreter, guys, if you guys ever need one. So, So one of the things I wanted to address really quickly, too, is, as I'm going down through all these things, how to increase your connection with your spirit guides. I'm going to let Pam, I'm at the end, yay! So I was like, I'm going to let Pam answer the question, but we can both answer it, because I know my way is different than hers. To increase your connection with your spirit guides, if you don't know who they are, or you don't have any way to differentiate who they are, do a guided meditation to meet them, have a reading, so on. First of all, find out something identifying, because here's the thing with the ones that you are born with, you don't know them. So you can't just be like, hey grandma, or hey aunt sis, whatever. You don't know them, so their name is actually irrelevant. Some people are like, I need to know their name, and I get that. Usually they will give you a way to talk to them, if that makes sense. They will give you a name, they will give you something. If you ever get an aura drawing from me, I will give you their color, I will give you a lot of identifying information about them. They usually choose to impart some things or not, so on. But once you kind of have something identifying about them, you can do a guided spirit guide meditation to connect more. One of the things, and this is something very easy that you can do once you've kind of learn who they are, learn something differentiating about them, you can talk to them at home. You can, when you're going to sleep, you can out loud, or, in your mind, whatever, if you don't want to say it out loud with your significant other there, whatever, you can literally tell them, hey, I'm going, hang on here. So we got a thing on Facebook pop up. Oh, it's Jody.
Oh. Hi, Jody.
So you can say, hey, look, I'm going to leave myself open tonight for you to talk to me. But here's the key to this. You have to set super clear ass boundaries on this. First of all, you have to say, I'm going to leave myself open to talk to you tonight. Say their name is Mark. Mark, I'm going to leave myself open to talk to you tonight. Only you. I will not listen, tolerate, entertain anything that has negative thoughts or whatever. I will only talk to Mark, and I will only talk to you if you have something to impart to me. Except, seriously. And feel free to talk to them like you talk to somebody else. I sometimes will tell my dude, shut the fuck up. Leave me alone. I have no problem being that way with mine. But set very clear boundaries on there. So for you guys on TikTok and Facebook, if you guys have questions, I have a list, and we're going to get through all of them. We've been on here for about an hour. We'll probably go for, 30 more minutes or an hour. I don't know. I always love having all these questions on here and being able to answer, but my phone is also going to die. I'm at 27%. So when my phone about dies, probably we'll be out. But I'm going to let Pam, if she has anything to add to the increasing the connection, and then we're going to go down some of these other things. And for those of you guys that are on TikTok, I did go through and I wrote down all your questions. So we're going to go down them. So yeah.
Well, a lot of people have family members that come through as their spirit guides. Another way to connect with them and honor them is to have an ancestral altar. a place that, you know, my grandpa loved Cuban cigars. And you know what? Grandpa probably still loves Cuban cigars on the other side. That doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
So, or he loved blueberry cheesecake. That doesn't change. He's on the other side. You can set up an altar and you can honor your ancestors by setting out a Cuban cigar. If he chooses, if he wants to come through and enjoy that, he can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Blueberry cheesecake, are the loves that we have, what resonates with us doesn't change over there. So honor them, and when they see that you honor them, then they're going to be more likely to come to you and to impart wisdom to you and to connect with you and to just let you know that they're there. They're hanging around anytime that they're needed. And it's just a matter of you have to kind of put in a little bit of effort for that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to search them out. They're, you know, not to say that your Aunt Judy's not going to go, it's me.
Mm-hmm.
It's me, you know, it's me, I'm here. That's not always the case.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, but sometimes you have to put in a little bit of footwork and do things to honor them so that they can come through more clearly.
Yeah. So the next question I had on here, and I'm just going to address this one really quickly. Somebody asked, is it normal to get headaches or migraines after being in groups? Okay, so my dear, I would say you're super empathic and you need to learn to shield yourself. Plus, sometimes it's just overwhelming. All that energy is overwhelming. So I would look at what types of groups give you headaches. That's where I would start. If you're at weddings and you get headaches, that could literally be because you are not shielding yourself, because true empathic people have problems everywhere. It's not just at like Walmart or crowds or the fair or whatever. You have problems at weddings and birthdays and things like that too, because it's too much emotion. So I would look at what kind of group it is, and I would look at the people that you're around. You know what I mean? But if you get headaches and migraines after being in groups, that could be several different things. I would say you're probably empathic and need to learn how to shield yourself a little bit.
You can also pay attention to where you are in those groups. If you're in a big, ginormous, cement-floored metal building, that's going to be amplified. So yeah, you may get headaches from that, or you may start feeling nauseous and kind of lightheaded from that. So just pay attention to things like that. And
so CJ, I'm going to answer your question right here really quickly because it goes right along with this. He asked if there's a necklace, charm, stone, etc. that you can wear to shield yourself from other people's energies. Abso-fucking-lutely. So Pam and I both wear chaurite. It's kind of hard to see in the dark here, but the chaurite only comes from a certain place in Siberia, in Russia. It's a beautiful purple. It's got some white and some black in there. It's kind of a medium price stone. Let's say it's a medium high price. So like this little pendant here was probably about $30. I don't know. Pam's is a little bigger, but it's hand wrapped.
I think it was about $48.
So, but this right here is kind of like armor for your aura. It will kind of repel things a little bit. There's also this really pretty denim colored stone called the meteorite. That is super armor for your auras. It's one of my bra rocks. But that one, whereas this one kind of puts like a shield up around you, that one right there not only puts a shield up around you, but sends shit right back at other people. It's kind of like, I'm rubber and you're glue. It's like that little saying, you know? So I don't know how to spell meteorite. Y'all are gonna hate me. Somebody asked about how do you spell chaurite. Chaurite is Charoite, and it's purple. There's a couple others as well. Anything black is always very protective. Obsidian, onyx, jet is a wonderful one. Hematite is also a good one to protect your energy. There was another one. Oh, here's another one. This one is hard to find as well. and I'm probably going to murder the name of it. It's Vesuvantite. It's green, but it's found at the base of Mount Vesuvius, and there's one other place I think in Peru that it's found, but it's named because it's found. I will put these on Facebook. Let me make myself a note. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'll do both. I will not only put a list on Facebook, but tomorrow when we're at the shop, I'll film a little video here on TikTok with these different stones and how to spell them, so you guys can kind of have a little cheat sheet. So, for aura. So the one thing I love about the Vesuvantite, and it's another one of my bra rocks. It's a little hard to find. Like, we don't carry it in the shop because it's hard. It's kind of harder to find. It's kind of a deep green. It's not quite the same green as like serpentine. It's a deeper green. But anyway, this one not only protects your aura, but it will go through and heal holes in it. So whenever, like, especially me and Pam, we protect ourselves a lot because we're both energy workers. We both come into contact with a lot of people. I do hug therapy. Like, that's not just like, hey, let me shake your hand. That's literally embracing someone. You're soaking in things from them. So Pam and I consider ourselves like dialysis machines when it comes to energy. So that's a lot to take in. Even if it's just one Reiki session a day, that's a lot of energy you're clearing from somebody.
And sometimes we have them back to back to back.
Yeah. So this one here is one that will help protect you, help shield you, and it will go through and it will repair damages in your aura. So yeah, I'm gonna end up getting on a different tangent. So I'm gonna go like, okay, Mandy, get on your list here. Somebody asked about quantum healing. I like you. You and I need to be friends. They said somebody had told them they needed to find someone who does quantum healing, and they're having problems doing that. Here's why you're having problems doing it. Not a lot of people do it. The reason I said you and I should be friends is that's one of the things. I hold over 20 certifications in different holistic arts, healing therapies, etc. That happens to be one of them. Quantum healing, quantum Reiki, is an energy healing, but it's done through very high-pitched frequencies that are set to music. So the human ear hears them, but you can't hear them. It's kind of like a dog whistle.
It just sounds like music.
Yeah. So, but, sorry, somebody across the hall slammed a door, so my kid's dog might, he's over here bitching a little bit. I'm surprised you guys can't hear him. He's just like, boof, boof, boof. Anyway, so quantum Reiki is something that is done with specific frequencies. It's along the same lines as Reiki, but it uses these frequencies to help heal your energy, to help heal your chakras, etc., on a quantum level. So it works a lot with quantum physics. It works a lot with a lot of different theories and things like that. So yes, you should absolutely find someone. And if I come somewhere by you, like, pay attention, and I'll tell you when I'm going to be where. If I come somewhere by you, I'm happy to load my table in the car or find a place where, I can help you. I'm happy to do those things for you guys. So, and if I'm ever at a convention or in an area where you guys are around, maybe you can't make it to the convention, Pam, whatever, we're happy to make appointments before, because we usually get somewhere at least the evening before a convention. So anyway, there you go. So this is a good one. I love this because I have to answer this all the time. Somebody said, what is a spiritual advisor? Well, let me tell you. It's kind of everything. A spiritual advisor, we do everything from different readings to energy work to shadow work to helping people find their path to helping people get back on their path. I am not far from Memphis. Are you ever close? Yes, actually, I will be coming through Memphis and Nashville when I go to Lexington. So I will totally post that when I'm coming through there. But yeah, I will totally be in Memphis this fall through Memphis. I actually have an uncle that lives there too. So anyway, back on track, Mandy. So a spiritual advisor is literally just someone that helps someone find their spiritual path. I I list myself as a spiritual advisor. I am more of a shaman. I do a lot of holistic work, things like that. But we have people that come in every week. We have people that come in every month. We have people that come in once and never come in again. Things like that. So, yeah, I mean, the spiritual advisor kind of does everything. It's literally, it's like a life coach, but spiritual. So think of it that way. But yeah. So for you guys, I see posting on, TikTok and stuff like that. We are in Owasso at Enchantments and Oddities. If you're welcome to message me on here, message us on Facebook if you want to make an appointment. I will also repost our menu. Pam and I both do a massive amount of different readings and energy healings and things like that. We also have a ton of classes. We have full mentorship programs, etc.
We have some students on. Hi, guys.
Yeah, we saw on Facebook some of our students are popping on. So here's a good question. Someone asked, do you ever see dark colors in auras? Very rarely. So here's the thing. Let me give you guys a quick little rundown about auras. So the auras that you can train yourself to see, anybody can train themselves to see these auras. So these are the ones that sit out here. Literally anybody can train themselves to see this. This is the body's natural electromagnetic field. It will always have multiple colors in them. So when you're first learning, you may only see one color. You may see a haze around somebody. You may see, when you see a mirage on the road, you may see that. That's seeing their energy. As you start to learn and you start to really practice, you'll see a multitude of colors. The thing about these are that they can change from second to second to second. If you're in a crowd and you're bumping into people and you're not protecting yourself a little bit, then you're going to bump into people and you're going to get their aura on you. When it comes to actually reading someone the way I read them, and I read their core, so there are 7 different layers under the electromagnetic layer that you can see. These, I usually start with someone's core, which is the very middle part. The other ones I have found kind of fluctuate a little bit. There's a spiritual level, there's emotional, there's mental, there's there's one with a huge long name that I murder every time. I just call it the under layer. It's the one right under the one you can see. And there's a couple more. I draw all of these in there. I have only come across 2 people that have ever had black in their aura. Everybody always jokes about, I got a black aura, whatever. No. In all the years of doing this, I've come across 2 people, that have had that color aura. The first one, in fact, with both of them, the first one, when I shook his hand, I had to fight pulling away from it. The second one, I had to read a bit to get to the black. So, yeah, I've only ever found 2 people that had black in their aura. So that kind of also goes along with, somebody asked about color theory, said that on TikTok, said that they had studied color theory and so on. If you guys have never ever looked at color theory, I highly recommend you do it. That's one of the things that Pam and I do at the shop when we do Reiki, is we use a specific color of lights. It's hard to tell in here, but I have them around my house as well. I have LED lights that I can put them in almost any color. Every single color has its own vibration, its own pattern, and every single color also elicits a specific response from the body. So if you guys have never studied it or looked into it, man, you absolutely should. It's very, very interesting. So I didn't mean to rush through some questions, but I also want to get to all of these questions. So this next one is one that I love to talk about, and I can talk about forever. Someone asked about shadow people. So shadow people are very interesting. Some people that aren't familiar with them or what they are will tell you they're all bad. Don't ever look at them, talk to them, whatever. That's not actually the case. Shadow people have several different, let's say, levels. Some of them are literally just curious. Some of them are things from the astral plane that are not actually shadow people, but they disguise themselves as that. And they're kind of dickheads, and you want to be careful with them. They cause sleep paralysis. They cause extreme night terrors. They cause things like that. And that will be another podcast that we'll do, because that one is one that we need to go really in depth with.
Astral travel, we're going to do that as well.
Yeah, because that needs to be addressed. Yeah. But there is one type of shadow person I did want to talk about really quickly. Well, 2 actually. So there are children Usually, shadow people that manifest as children are very mischievous. I get chills talking about this because they're usually not very nice either. They're there to cause problems. They're there to wreak havoc. They're there to cause problems. So, the other type I want to talk about is the Hat Man. Yeah, the Hat Man is not a good thing at all. The Hat Man, if you look online and you look about the Hat Man, you will see a lot of things about him in particular. Jason Hawes with Ghost Hunters did a book on him. Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah. Jason Hawes did a study and a book on the Hat Man after having an experience with one.
It's a phenomenon.
It is. So I actually sent in a story of mine, talked to him a little bit about it. I've had a run-in with one. The good thing is I kind of walked a spiritual path a little bit already because I had grown up doing some things. Like Pam said, you kind of grow up in the realm and you're like, oh, that's why I put salt here. Oh, that's why, this is good for this or whatever. The one that I had, I saw him on my front porch a couple of times. He never, ever was able to come into my house because I had it protected, and I had no problem telling him to get the fuck off my porch. But I saw him a few different times. The Hat Man is not ever a good thing. I'm just going to let you know. The Hat Man is usually a bad omen. That means something bad is about to happen. Sometimes it's a death in the family, which in our case, my case, it was. There are all kinds of,
and they can be there for extended periods of time. My oldest son has had him around since he was a very, very young child, barely old enough to even understand to explain it. And then as he got older, and he's an adult now, and he's still around.
Mm-hmm. So somebody on Facebook asked if shadow people are people we walk and talk with. No. Shadow people, like I said, if they manifest in a way that you can't really, they don't manifest in your face, like where you can actually see them, or they manifest in a more smoky aspect, or they're just quick darting somewhere or whatever, they're probably just curious. Mm-hmm. They're probably just curious. Or they were drawn to something about you. A lot of times people that have a lot of gifts, especially if you're empathic, or you already are able to have some mediumship abilities, they will tend to manifest because they're curious. Like,
and if you don't know how to protect that part of you, you literally have a beacon over your head that things that are passing through and passing by can see that and go, they can see me. I can communicate with them. Yeah. So let's head on in there.
Yeah. So shadow people are very interesting. We'll probably do a whole podcast on them because they're very interesting. Or we may just add them into astral travel and stuff. So I stopped the TikTok things from scrolling because this question that someone popped up on here coincides with the next question on my list. How to tell intuition and anxiety apart. And someone on TikTok said that they were a counselor and they get chills all the time. Can I channel this to help my clients? Absolutely. We do it all the time. Whenever I get chills when I'm talking about somebody, tells me immediately I'm right. Yeah. That's you're right. So when I'm talking to somebody in a guide reading or a deity reading, something like that, that's the main thing when these happen. Or I'm doing energy work on them and I suddenly get chills. I'm like, oh, okay, what I'm thinking, like, you've had a really bad injury on this knee, or this is this deity, or this is this. Learn to trust that. That's your intuition. That's what happens. So when you're using like the little, damn it, what are they called? The rods, dowsing rods, the dowsing rods. You see people using them. Sorry, I'm like doing this, and I'm moving for you guys listening to the podcast, I'm moving my hands like flippers, and Pam's looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. But the dowsing rods, like if you've ever seen people use them, normally they're straight, and then when they cross, that's that, oh my God, it's right here. That's what chills are. That's your dowsing rod. So when it comes to, sorry, I'm scrolling back down here. So when it comes to telling your intuition and anxiety apart, anxiety is something that's, causes a lot of physical symptoms. I have anxiety. I've had some pretty severe panic attacks in my life. Anxiety is something that it causes a lot of stomach problems. It causes a lot of heart palpitations. It causes a lot of shortness of breath, headaches, things like that.
Lightheaded.
Yeah. Your intuition is going to be more this pull in your gut. It's like if someone had a rope and it was tied right to your belly button, and you feel it pull one way or the other. Sometimes it's down. It'll pull straight down. It's always going to be something like that, but it's not ever, I'm going to throw up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something like that.
Unless you're empathic. If you're empathic,
True.
You could be picking up on another person's anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I hugged someone today, and she apologized because she could tell I immediately
Mm-hmm.
felt that, and it's a visceral response for me. I feel it right in my gut, and I know, and usually I'm like, oh, if I'm doing Reiki especially, as soon as I touch them, I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
your anxiety, and they're like, I know, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're empathic, you could be picking up on another person's anxiety,
Yeah.
as opposed to intuition type things.
Yeah. So I've seen a couple people on TikTok ask about readings or whatever. Pam and I both do readings in person and online. If you would like to get one, and I have a couple that I've got to get caught up on, please message us, here on TikTok or on Facebook or whatever. We're happy to help you with whatever. And like I already mentioned, that I will make sure I put a menu up. So there we go. So let's see. Oh, mentors. So, hang on. I'm going to add this other one too. So, here's the last 4 questions I've got on here. And then I'm going to look through some of these really quick. But we're probably going to do these last 4 and then jump off here because we've been talking for about an hour, a little over an hour, almost hour and a half now. So, finding a mentor, why people say they're demonic, Ouija boards and seances, and sensations when you hit a spiritual awakening. I'm going to go down here because sorry, I'm scrolling through all of these maybe to try to make sure I've got everything. Oh, thank you. All right. Oh, there's another good one. Let me address this real quick. Your hands burning. So, my friend, if your hands are burning, first of all, physical things, do you have circulation problems? Do you have high blood pressure, etc.? Start there. I never immediately jump to, oh my God, that's this. Unless it's something I specifically know because I deal with. So I personally, like I said, I have high blood pressure, things like that. I know the difference when my blood pressure is high and how my hands feel, and when my hands start burning when I'm around certain people. Here's the thing. If your hands, and I'll describe this for you guys on the podcast, if your hands right in here in this middle part, and it's underneath the bumps here underneath your fingers, that middle meat part of your hand, if that burns when you're around certain people, especially burns and it radiates out your fingers, that right there tells me you're probably a natural healer, my friend, and you probably should learn how to do Reiki. Because if somebody comes to me and they're like, man, my hands burn all the time when I'm around people with anxiety or people with cancer or people with chronic illness, you know what I mean? You'll start to notice my hands burn when I'm around these types of people. That tells me you're predisposed to being a healer, that's probably one of your gifts, and you really, really need to learn how to do that. There are chakras. Most people are familiar with the main 7 chakras. You need to get familiar with the 8th one. It sits right about here. Well, mine's actually a little higher right now, but it sits about a foot or so above your head. This is where you pull everything from the universe in. So I would advise you to learn about it, find someone that can help you center it, clear it, etc. But there are hundreds of chakras in the body. There is a huge one in your hand. There are ones up each little notch in your fingers, etc. So like when we're doing Reiki, we activate these chakras. Sometimes these can get activated without wanting to. When I hug somebody and I instantly, or I touch their hand or whatever. See, somebody right here says, I work for hospice and I always want to hold hands. They always tell me my hands are so warm. My friend, you're a healer. That's why. That's why.
Your body's natural pull to help.
Yeah. Yeah. So you wanting to touch them and hold their hand and your hand getting warm tells me that you're already kind of naturally predisposed to energy healing, and that's your gift, and that's why you're drawn to working in hospice, because you're providing them that peace and that
Comfort.
calm and calming their anxiety. So when your hands itch, depending on the old wives' tale you want to listen to, there's all kinds of things about that. See, somebody else, my hands get hot when I massage certain people. Yep.
Yeah.
That's why you're massaging. That's why you're a massage therapist, because you're predisposed to being a healer. So yeah, if you guys, I've seen a lot of people on here. See, you guys had no idea you were healing people. A lot of people on TikTok are popping up all of a sudden like, oh my God, my hands do that all the time. Y'all go get certified in Reiki. Go get your attunements. Even if it's just Reiki 1, do it. Just do it. I'm just saying, just do it.
And
you know
pay
what?
attention, now that you know that, pay attention to what's happening, who you're around,
Yes.
what's going on.
Yeah. And here's another thing. I see people on here talking about being a nurse, being a future nurse, etc. If you guys are going into the healing field at all, whether it's being a nurse, massage therapist, physical therapist, etc., I highly advise you to get certified, to get your Reiki attunements, because you can do so much for someone by just holding their hand, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. I'm just going to end up putting together an online Reiki class. I usually don't like to, because I love to do attunements in person. I'm one of the few grandmasters here in Oklahoma. I've taught Pam. I've taught a lot of people. But yeah, you guys learn Reiki. Learn Reiki. Whether you learn it from me, whether you learn it from somebody close, I don't care. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. Especially if you're in the healing field.
It was a purposeful outlet for my gift of healing.
Yeah.
It gave me an outlet so that I could target areas instead of just as a nurse in the whole holistic, just taking care. I can pinpoint and I can put energy where it's needed specifically, and that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and one thing too, Reiki is now finally becoming more mainstream in the U.S. In other countries, especially Japan, China, around the Asian Peninsula and stuff, it's mainstream. It's mainstream there. It's energy healing. It was founded by a Buddhist monk. And in most of the coastal hospitals, cancer centers, VA treatment centers, there are Reiki practitioners on staff. A lot of cancer treatment centers have a Reiki practitioner on staff because they realize that it's not just medication, it's not just chemo, it's not just diet, it's not just your well-being, your mental well-being. It's also your energy. If your energy is off.
There's also corporations that are bringing in Reiki practitioners to help people feel better, boost the morale so that they're more productive at their jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, mentors, finding mentors. So somebody just asked about how do they find a mentor. It depends what you're looking for a mentor for. If you're looking for a mentor for your spiritual path, I would advise that you go to some of your local shops. Not that I wouldn't love to have you. Pam wouldn't love to have you. We are going to start online classes with our mentorship program. However, I would highly advise you to go to some of the local shops and talk to the people there. Chances are you're going to find your person. But if you don't, there are plenty of people online that are happy to help. Pam and I actually run an accredited school. We teach a mentorship program. In our mentorship program, we teach a lot of different aspects of paganism, spirituality, etc. So we give you a massive buffet of everything that you would learn in multiple different paths, etc. And then we give you, like, here is everything. You take what resonates with you. One of the things that we founded the school on was to be able to give people the tools they needed to find their right path. And you're going to hear stuff in class that may not resonate with you. We're not going to tell you, oh my God, you have to follow what we're saying. No, we don't. I follow a crazy path. Pam follows a different path. Yeah. Yeah. So if you can't find someone in person, they're close to you, please follow us on Facebook. Follow me on TikTok. I will announce when we'll have our online classes going. It will probably be mid-July. And they will be ones where you can either come in person, on Zoom or whatever, or you can watch the videos and then you can message us or whatever. You will get a certification after this year is up. You do have tests. We have to test you. So, so yeah. That's kind of how you find a mentor. If you have any questions about the stuff we're talking about, whether you're on TikTok watching us on Facebook or whether you're on our podcast listening, please message us, man. Please message us. Our spiritual school you can find on Facebook. It is the Trillium Spiritual Center, and I will make sure I put that on the Blue Bodhi on Facebook as well. Please follow us. We will happily give you all the information you need on it. So, all right. This is an interesting one. Why do people say they're demonic? Okay, sometimes that's that person just being a dick. Sometimes that's that person seeing something really cool on a movie or whatever, and they identified with some dark part of that. Sometimes that person actually walks a demonic path. There's a difference between walking a demonic path and walking a Satanist path and a Luciferian. All of these are different things. So some people do work with demons. That is their path. It's not my path, but I'm not going to tell somebody you're wrong because, you don't need to do that. I would probably warn them, hey, be kind of careful, because demons are like genie, like jinn. They like to promise and then twist said promises. But here's the thing too. I think that people have a very strong misconception of what angels and demons are actually like. And if you guys really study them at all, they're not the always good, always bad things you guys have been told. There's also a third race in between angels and demons called the jinn. They are usually based in the Middle East. This is where the term genie comes from. There are actually like 4 different races of them. They're very interesting to learn about. They pop up a lot. I've worked with a lot of veterans that have come back from the Middle East. With dealings with them. They're very interesting creatures. They're really neither good or bad. They're kind of all about themselves. But yeah, so CJ's even said on TikTok that he kind of went down a path of Luciferianism and Satanism. It wasn't for him, but it taught me a lot. Right. I think that when you start walking a spiritual path, you have to be very open-minded. You have to be willing to learn about other paths, because just because it's not the path for you doesn't mean you shouldn't learn about it. You shouldn't understand it.
And we teach it, and we have purposefully learned about it so that we can give you all of those tools to find where you fit, to find your path. We're not going to discount anyone over another. It may not be in any way, shape, or form what we feel or what we believe, but that's not right. That's not our role. Our role is to give you all of the options to put you where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. So like I said, we give you a huge buffet and you guys pick what resonates with you. And we're happy to help you with whatever. So it's funny that this question is right after that question. I saw a few people ask, what are our stances on Ouija boards and seances? So I actually design custom leather hand-burnt Ouija boards. I do seances, things like that at the shop. You look so much like Stevie Nicks. I get that all the time, and I take that as a massive compliment. Stevie Nicks is someone I would actually love to meet. But yeah, I had someone the other day. I look a little bit more normal today, but yeah, I had somebody tell me the other day that it looked like I shopped in Stevie Nicks' closet. So it cracked me up. I was like, thank you. But anyway, so with Ouija boards and seances, here's the thing. They're not bad. However, you need to make sure you have your protections in place, you know what you're doing, or you have someone there to guide you that knows what they're doing. I do seances. I have a specific way I do them. I have a specific setup and a specific tear down. I use regular salt. I use hickory. I use all kinds of things. So if you guys are interested in learning about how to properly open and close out a Ouija board, then do so. I personally don't feel like they're bad. I feel like a lot of good can be done with them. However, I feel like there are a lot of people that have no clue what they're doing, and they think it's a game, and they get on there, and then something fucked up happens. They don't close it out. They throw it away or whatever, and then they have problems, and they don't know what's happening. Well, you literally...
you do it altered.
Yeah.
On substances that are not allowing you to have a clear mind and a clear understanding of what you're asking.
Right. And here's the thing I'm going to say about Ouija boards. Oh, okay. Sorry. I had to you know what? Someone on TikTok just said I was meant to find you guys. I believe that everybody finds Pam and I for a specific reason. It's not because, ooh, hey, I'm going to do a TikTok. Ooh, hey, I'm going to do this. There are millions of people on TikTok. There are millions of people on Facebook. There are millions of people that come across you online. You come across every single day. People find who they need to find for a reason. So I'm always happy to have someone find either one of us. So what was I going to say? I was just going to say something about, shit, I forgot. Oh well. Maybe I'll remember in a minute. So my last question on here was, I always know when somebody on here knows us personally or whatever, because they just called you Aunt Pam. They said, hi, Aunt Pam and Mandy. Hi, babe. So, somebody said we have two different vibes than most people on TikTok. Well, I hope that's good, and thank you. I'm just going to say that. Thank you.
I have that old crone vibe.
You've got the old crone of Stevie Nicks, so I mean, what else could you want? But yeah, Pam and I, so here's what's really funny. Those of you guys that follow astrology or whatever will probably go, oh my God, how are y'all in the same room? Pam and I are both Capricorns, and we were born like literally a week apart.
7 years, I'm older.
Our birthdays are a week apart, so I don't really feel that Pam's that much older than me. We get along very well. But what's funny is our risings and stuff are slightly different. So we're both kind of hardcore workaholics, this. But there's a lot of times when Pam has to pull me back on track, and there's times I have to pull Pam out of her shell, things like that. But we work amazingly well together. And I think that having that Capricorn base, we both operate on the same level. We both have also been through enough in our lives that we know our worth to ourselves. Whereas Pam has a more Native American path. I'm all over the place. I literally call myself a very eclectic, practitioner. I'm descendant from Irish gypsies. I grew up in a family. I tease my parents that we were upper middle class hippies. I grew up in the mountains on Indian reservations. I grew up going to whatever temple in Denver we had questions about. I mean, I learned everything growing up. And my parents never pushed us down a specific path. So therefore, I pick what resonates with me, and that's what I use. And Pam's the same way. And so we don't come across that, hey, this is how we believe, so this is how you better believe, because that's not right. It's not right. So we try to have a different vibe. I guess, because that's our vibe.
And that's what everyone tells us who comes to the spiritual center. They absolutely love to be in our space because of the vibe. And we work very, very hard.
We do.
To keep it that way, to make people feel welcome. I had a gentleman come in this afternoon who literally just got the chills as soon as he walked through our area, and he was like, oh my God, I love this. So, yeah.
Here's a good one. May I ask what I should do? I'm a baby witch. I'm 13 and I need help. Aw. I'll tell you what, Sweet Pea. If you want to message me, I'm happy to help you. Because I kind of need to know like what it is you're trying to do. but we would be happy to help you, sweetheart. We actually have a kids class as well, and we'll be doing a kids class online if that's something your parents would be okay with. I mean, I would always say to talk to your parents about it. For those of you that are parents that have children, we teach ages 12 and up, and we give them a solid foundation of spirituality and their practice. So we will put that on Facebook and everything as well, because we know that there's not a lot of bring in my pie dish only if you'll refill it with strawberry pie. So sorry. Anyway, so one of the cool things about our shop, if you guys ever are in Tulsa or come, does Pam have a TikTok? Not yet, but we need to get her on one, don't we?
I actually do.
Oh no, she does. We're gonna make her get on it.
It's Dreamwalker.
There you go. There's Pam's TikTok. I'll have to figure out a way to tag her in some of these. We'll make a video tomorrow with the stones for you guys, and I'll tag Pam in it, so that way you guys will have it, so you can follow Pam too. So I'm a horrible best friend. I forgot
She
Pam.
didn't even know.
Pam
I follow her. She doesn't even know.
I'm sorry. I'm bad. No cookie for Mandy. So okay, let's see here. I'm going back down all these messages. What am I missing?
I'm also on Facebook under Dreamwalker.
Yes. So, and if you guys go to the Blue Bodhi, we've got it shared across the different pages. So if you are worried about trying to search and find Aunt Pam, if you go on Facebook, and to the Blue Bodhi, she's right there. Like, yeah, you can't miss her. So, so let's see here.
Sensations when awakening.
Well, I'm going to let you start on that one while I'm scrolling through here.
I don't even know where to start.
Tips for baby witches. Well, tips for baby witches. I guess that depends what kind of tips you want. Always trust your intuition. Give yourself permission to fall down the rabbit hole. Read everything. Watch everything. It can be overwhelming, and don't feel like you have to compare yourself to other witches. Let's just say that. That's the main thing. Don't feel like you have to compare yourself to Pam or me or somebody on TikTok or somebody online.
Don't let anyone put you in a box.
Yep. Fuck the box.
Gatekeep you. What resonates with you is your practice. What you choose to do is your practice. There are literally fingerprints. No two people who are practicing are the same, will believe the same, will feel the same. What resonates with you is not going to resonate with someone else,
right? Even
if you're best friends.
Right. So I see a lot of people on here asking about readings, notifications when we're coming on, etc. If you guys are interested in a reading, feel free to message. We'll get you scheduled. So we're going to start doing a live every week like this. This is also being recorded for a podcast. So we'll have a podcast out, and I'll announce that as well. Every Tuesday night, I do free oracle card readings, 8 o'clock here on TikTok and Facebook. Should we start doing every Friday for this? We'll figure out the day we're going to do this. Friday seems to be a wonderful day to do it because, man, we've had some amazing questions from you guys. Like, it's fucking awesome. So, and you guys will, on TikTok and Facebook, are all going to be on our very first podcast as well. So, yeah, yay. So, every Tuesday night at 8, free oracle card readings. I do advise you get there at 8. This week I went for like 2.5 hours, but my list fills up really quickly. I only do like 2 or 3 card pulls, but still. And
we love that our students have jumped on here and they're a part of this and our coven. So we love that.
Yeah. So if you guys go over to Facebook and you see some of the comments on there, you'll see a lot of people that are students of ours that are in our mentorship program,
or just people who come to see us, who love to be around in our vibe.
Yeah. So somebody asked where in Tulsa. We're actually in Owasso. Ooh, suburb. Somebody asked about star seeds. Sorry.
that will be definitely
that will be a whole podcast.
Yeah.
I know a massive amount about star seeds. Yes. Star seeds are souls that choose to come here to Earth from other places. I actually have a theory that technically we're all star seeds. Some of us are just on different levels. I personally, I've done too many past life readings, too many spirit guide readings, too many star seed readings, etc. I'm kind of starting to believe that none of our souls are actually just human as we think of them. We all come from different dimensions, different universes. This is kind of like school. Let's just say that. Some people are still in kindergarten. Some people are working in high school, they're a senior. Some people are in college. Some people are working on their fucking doctorate. Some people are working on like their 7th or 8th doctorate.
And they're still bullies.
Yeah. So, let's see here. January 31st, you would be an Aquarius, babe. So, let's see here. I don't know who this person is, but you're getting blocked because you're hateful. Okay. All right. So, sensations when awakening. I didn't write down that whole question. Okay. Sorry. I'm going through some of these on TikTok. Well, hello, beautiful spiritual person. Somebody said hello, beautiful people. All right. So I am going to tell you guys that are asking about different astrological things. That is not my talent. Sorry. But you know what? I think in fact, I was thinking of this earlier. We have a friend, a lady who comes and teaches at the shop. We'll pull her in for one of our Friday night lives to get, fabulous. She's fucking fabulous. Her name is Amy. So we'll pull her in to get on here and do some talking about the astrology and shit.
And if you want to, and there are pages that you can go to get your natal chart. You just need to look on your birth certificate and see what time you were born. It's really important to know the time down to the minute that you were born, because it changes everything.
Yes.
And you can go on there and plug it all in, and it will give you your natal chart, and you don't even have to pay for anything.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them out there. You just look for them.
So I'm going to go through and we're going to quickly answer some of these questions. We have like over 100 messages here on TikTok. So I'm going to try to quickly answer them because my phone is now at 10%. So we're probably going to have to end here pretty quick. Someone said, have you ever met someone scared of an era? Yes, I have. This person said, I'm scared of the 1920s. Babe, I would probably bet that you died horribly.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to be a dick, and I hope that didn't come across when I said it that way. But usually people that have a fear of a certain era, a certain time, a certain place, you probably had a very, very tragic experience there, a very horrific experience there. So, yeah. So, do you want to talk about journaling your dreams and dreams about snakes?
So when I do a dream interpretation, it's not like if someone were to say, I keep dreaming about a blue horse. Like 3 nights in a row, I've had the same dream and the horse, and it's blue. You guys can Google dream interpretations for what an animal means or certain things mean. My dream interpretations are very intuitive. Something that you're dreaming about could be so metaphoric that no one can understand it, but I go off of my intuition, and I'm rarely wrong with that. And a lot of times people have to go back and to look at that and to think about that and plug it in, and then it makes sense. Also, to write down what you're dreaming, write down what your dream is, because sometimes you wake up and you're like, oh my God, that was so vivid, I will never forget that. You don't write it down, and 30 minutes later you're like, what was that? Oh my God, I just knew I was not going to forget it. When you wake up, you do not just keep a pen and paper. You can even do the note on your phone. You don't have to write down, I was walking down a dark road, and just this long narrative. You don't have to do that. Just put walking, dark road, presence, 3 dogs. Something that just helps you trigger. It's not, you don't have to remember verbatim what the dream is, because a lot of times, sometimes they're so chaotic. They're so strange, they're so off the wall, it's because dreams come from such a high place, from such a higher level, that you don't understand what they're trying to convey, and they know that you don't understand what is being conveyed, so they put things so that you can understand them. And to us, it comes out so strange and so wonky and so hard to understand. But that's where your work comes in. You have to decipher what these mean to you, because they're trying to plug in something that resonates with you and makes sense to you, even though the dream doesn't. You have to make sense of that yourself. Mm-hmm. Or find someone like me who can help you make sense of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, if you guys have issues with dreams, dream interpretations, etc., message. We'll get you an appointment with Pam. I did see someone say, I haven't stopped it from going, I've been kind of watching as it goes, that they haven't dreamed in a while. Here's the thing. You are dreaming. Or you're traveling in your sleep and you don't know it. So that will be a thing we'll talk about in the astral travel. I don't know quite what we'll talk about next week, because we've got a whole bunch of things here that, we're trying to decide on. But it may be that we need to talk about astral travel and shadow people and what happens when you astral travel and so on. That may be our podcast next week. So, but yeah, if you guys are interested in booking a reading, talking to Pam, talking to me, are interested in the mentorship programs, etc. The mentorship programs are on the Trillium Spiritual Center on Facebook. But you can go to the Blue Bodhi, find Pam's page, find this Trillium page, book a reading, etc. On Tuesday nights, I do free oracle card readings at 8 o'clock here on TikTok and Facebook. I advise you get here early because my list fills up within about 15-20 minutes. But yeah. You guys are asking like fucking fabulous questions, and it makes me so happy. So I'm not doing any readings tonight, guys. Sorry. And then, so if you guys want a dream interpretation appointment, shoot a message either here on TikTok or on Facebook, and we'll get Pam on you. Yeah. So I see a lot of people asking about talking to people who have passed away and that they can't talk to them. So I'm going to address this really quick, and then I'm probably going to cut this. We're going to go ahead and go, because this will put us at talking for 2 hours straight, and my phone's about to die. So when you have someone that's passed away and you're not hearing from them, you're not seeing them, etc., give them some time. Because when we pass away, some people, their soul has done this a multitude of times, and they know how to communicate like that. They're going to be right up your ass. Some people, however, it takes them a little bit to learn how to communicate, because it's not like just texting somebody or calling somebody or going to their house or whatever. Now it's a massive ordeal until they figure out how to best communicate with you, because how someone communicates with me is not how they're going to communicate with Pam.
And it takes a lot of energy.
It does.
And a new soul that is crossed over can't always find ways of harnessing the energy so that they can come through to you right away.
Yeah.
It takes practice for them.
It does. And we'll totally do a whole live on that, because working with a medium, finding one, working with people that have passed over, things like that, it's hard, it's rewarding, it's amazing, and it's terrifying all at the same time. I'm just going to say that. So anyway, we're going to let you guys go, because we've now been talking for about 2 hours straight. So like I said, every Tuesday, you guys can catch us on TikTok and Facebook at the Blue Bodhi on both, and then make sure you follow at the Dreamwalker on TikTok and Facebook, and we'll make sure to share that. This podcast will be out next week, probably Monday or Tuesday, and I will definitely share that as well. And then every Friday night we'll start doing this. You guys will see us on Friday nights, let's say 9 o'clock.
You've given us some great ideas.
You have. We appreciate all the great questions.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. We'll see you guys later.